Yo, what up, ladies and
There it is. Okay, we're on.
yeah, we're ready to rock and roll. I'm not at home today. I'm in literally James's living room, so hopefully our audio sounds
Dining room.
dining room. Yes, dining room. Sorry. Yeah, we're gonna get the show on the road. Our guest had technical difficulties, so couldn't get his picture on. So James and I are gonna do this thing. We were literally having this conversation before we started. We're gonna talk about that Dave Chapelle thing. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
The Business Bros Podcast was created for you. Learn from the business professionals who come to share their stories. Find out what's working in business, on social media, what's hot and what's not, straight from the mouths of successful entrepreneurs out there doing the real work. And now, welcome to another episode of
Business Bros.
Oh, and it's going to be a fun conversation today. By the way, if you want to chime in, feel free to drop some stuff in the chat. We'll bring you into the conversation here. We'll ask your questions or whatever you're thinking or whatever your commentary is. So it'll be a fun episode. It's a little bit different. It's still probably a business perspective because, that's how we always roll anyways. That's where our conversations end up leading. But I had to make sure because James asked me. He was worried about this. Some of you, like myself, have not actually seen the Dave Chapelle special yet. James has.
I watched it last night.
He watched it last night, but there is a lot of controversy going on. It is part of what is trending right now. And so
Definitely.
We were having the discussion a little while ago, and we decided to screw it. We're going to talk about it on the show today. So spoiler alert, James has seen it. So there are things he knows, things that he's going to say. So this is your spoiler alert right now. It's possible that
I'll share this much. My memory is relatively shit, so I'm not gonna necessarily remember the jokes, but there are some stories that I remember, and it's the stories that matter.
The stories are always what matter. All right. So first of all, let's talk about what is going on. So what is going on with this? What's going on with this whole Dave Chapelle thing?
Okay, so the whole Dave Chapelle thing, why is it trending is because of the transphobic jokes that he has made through his career and has made in this special. And there are some, I'm not saying, so, okay, I'm not saying, there are some in the transgender community who are, raising a stink about it.
Okay, so, and why is it relevant that we talk about this? Because James and I have literally been having this discussion over and over and over again.
Over and
over again. So for those of you who don't know, James has his own podcast that he does, and I play Mr. Producer because normally he plays Mr. Producer on my show,
right there.
Right? And so it's at Practicing Poly A. And James, tell me what your show's about. Who do you talk to?
I talk to polyamorous people, which is
what is that?
People who have multiple meaningful romantic relationships.
And not just that community embraces a lot of other communities who are different. So you talk to a lot of different people on your show, people like
the LGBTQ plus community, kinky folks, a lot of sex educators, sex therapists,
a lot of sex therapists.
So, yep. It's a lot of people that deal with these identities that are different from mononormativity.
Right? Which is pretty much most of society.
The majority.
Right?
Yeah.
The majority of society.
Okay.
So this is why I thought it's a great conversation to have because James is very, let's say, rooted
connected.
And speaks to, connected and speaks to a lot of people. Just like for me,
a lot of queer people, specifically a lot of queer people. So I feel like that's the word that we're not saying, right? Queer, transgender, we speak to people that are different from us. Right? We are cisgender heterosexual men, right? We are the majority, if you will.
Yep.
Right? Or so there's a lot of privilege that we have in that. And I think that that's the first thing that we need to acknowledge is that we have privilege as cisgender heterosexual men.
Sure. Acknowledge it.
Acknowledged.
Okay.
Acknowledged.
Fine.
Okay.
Fine.
Cool.
Acknowledged.
Cool. I'm gonna count that
However,
as a win. Hang on.
I
I
think
got
you're
my.
gonna chalk that up.
I'm gonna chalk that one up as a win.
Well, it's because it's coming at a cost, right? It's not gonna
Yes.
just win.
So ham
and
none.
All right.
All right.
Oh,
All right. I got one.
Score today. Okay, we're keeping score today. See how it is.
Why not? Let's keep score.
All right. So here's the thing, right? So one of the things that I always say on the show is it's important for people to have conversations with people, right?
Yes.
And when I usually talk about that, I tend to talk about that in the sense of politics, right? Whether you believe in something that is the right way to go about doing it or you disagree adamantly, it doesn't matter. If you're watching TV, if you're watching, whatever channel you watch for the news, you are leaning one way versus the other. And
Facts.
there's a lot of divide that has been happening. Just like there's a lot of divide between cultural norms, right? The way that I have a monogamous relationship and, one guy, one girl, whatever it is, dude, your door opened by itself and Katie's sitting right in front of me.
That would be the wind.
Okay.
I have a beautiful cross breeze.
Videos. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
No, I have a great cross
that was
breeze.
trippy, dude. That was trippy. All right, I was gonna say your place is haunted. Anyways, there's a lot of division that goes on, and a lot of that division is brought to you by our mainstream media. It's great for marketing for you to pick a team. That's why the NFL is awesome. You get to pick a team, you get to back them up, right? You get really behind those teams that you're on. Well, that division is also hurtful. It can go the wrong way. The Raiders have a bad image of their fans being violent. They're not. Like some of our really close friends are Raider fans. I mean, they're awesome people.
Actually, let's stop right there. Let's stop right there. I want to hear from anybody, right? If y'all think wherever it is that you are in the world, if y'all think that y'all. Because I can't just say you guys, right? Because we got to use gender pronouns. Neutral pronouns.
Yes.
Right? Anyway,
y'all.
So y'all tell me if you think that Raiders fans are violent. Like, tell me if that's yes, absolutely. Like that should be a poll. Put that on Twitter on the @BusinessBrosPod Twitter, and
are Raider fans?
Are Raider fans violent?
Rowdy?
Do you think Raider fans are rowdy and violent? Or is that what we think here in San Diego? Is that what we think of people who wear black and silver?
Because we were blue and gold.
Because we wear blue and gold, or because we saw Ice Cube and Menace to Society and Boys in the Hood, and
you're trying to say that this is something that's projected on us, not necessarily what everybody sees.
It's what you would call a stereotype.
Yes, it is a stereotype. Yeah. And that's kind of where I'm getting at to these things, right? There's a lot of division, and sometimes
hurtful in that way.
Sometimes they are. Yes, that's my point, right? There are certain times when division causes pain. It causes hurt. It causes violence, right? Hence World War II, right? I mean, just go there, right? That's as far as we can go. It's the worst case scenario.
Yep.
But even when you love one team or another, just because we stereotype the Raiders as a violent team doesn't mean that there isn't violence at a Raider game or any of the other 32 teams in the NFL, right?
Exactly.
Like, it's not that it doesn't exist. And that's kind of my point. But if you have a stereotype, it's because something tends to happen in that place more often, or because it's been branded that way. And there is also humor in that, right? There's
like the Bills fans. We all think that Bills fans are just wild, crazy wrestler people who throw each other through tables.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
No. Right?
That's like there are some of them that are like that, but I would say the vast majority of them are, like us.
Right. But here's the thing. A Raider fan, unless intoxicated, is probably not offended, right? Where they have to go and get mad at all the other 32 teams when somebody makes fun of Raider fans for being violent. They're like, yeah, I know some people like that or whatever, right? Like, they shake it off like it's no thing, but the stereotype is there. And now when you go to a Raider game, like one of the craziest things was, I remember, I think it was Flavio and Carlos and a couple of the guys, right? They go to a Charger game in Oakland. And when they go they go to the game in Oakland, right? They're Charger fans. They're all charged up. They're having a great time, whatever. They come back. They're like, that was the greatest experience I've had at a football game.
Yeah.
Like, Raider fans are amazing, right? They had a different experience over there. But maybe Raider fans are so diehard Raider fans. And when they go play other teams, they're so diehard. Maybe it's a little weird to get involved with them, to have fun with them. Maybe it's a little different. Maybe there's been enough small bad experiences around that you have a little stereotype, but it's cool. You're having fun with it. Like it's only
I think
bad if
honestly,
it ends in violence.
I honestly think that it was a lot. I'm like, because I'm thinking of like Raider fans in Vegas. Are they the same Raider fans that were in San Diego when we played?
The thing about the Raiders is everywhere they go, they pick up fans. They're the
This is
black
true.
hole, dude. Like literally gravitational pull of fans wherever they
Nice.
go, right?
I feel like we're off topic though.
Oh yeah, sorry.
How the hell did we get here?
We're talking about humor. And that's the
Humor.
issue with the Dave Chapelle thing, right? Humor.
Yes, humor.
Like, Dave Chappelle
So,
has
okay.
been saying the same type of humor the whole time. He looks at society. He finds out where some of these stereotypes exist, what's trending, what's being pushed as an agenda, what's being changed in one way or another, something that society's not ready to accept but should probably accept,
Mhm.
right? And he pokes fun at it. Like, he'll bring certain mainstreams. One of his skits that's an all-time, like one of my all-time favorites, was when he's the black blind guy in the KKK.
Yep.
That is a he stereotyped the crap out of everything in that
Right,
skit, right? Because
Yep.
there was issues going on in society about, he brings those things to light with humor,
He does.
right? And that's the
does.
thing about like,
And he does the same thing in this special, I think. So
he
I
brings
actually
awareness.
liked the special. You know, like I'll tell you that. I actually liked it. You know, like you said, I'm very much connected to the community, and I listened to his jokes, and there were some times where I was like, you know, I'm a little uncomfortable. But when he gets to the end of his skit, when he tells the story about his okay, this is a spoiler.
Go for it.
I'm so sad that I'm going to spoil it for you.
Come
but
on, just do it.
it's breaking my heart, just so you know. And so everybody who doesn't want to be spoiled about this Dave Chapelle thing, like, turn it off now. Okay, so he tells this story about this wonderful friend, comedian woman that, you know, this connection that he made. And she was the opening act for his show. And like, he talks about how bad it was, how terrible it was. But like, then somebody in the crowd, when he went up to do his, somebody in the crowd made some kind of a joke at her, some kind of a transphobic joke. And like, she turned around and like
Popped him one.
Right? Yeah. Like, got him good. And then like, for the rest of that night, like, it was just a bunch of interaction. And oh man, I mean, he just builds this wonderful connection. And then it's taken from him. That's that. Like, I feel like that's as much as I'm gonna say. It's taken from him, and just the way that he connects with this transgender woman, like, it doesn't matter, you know, like, it doesn't matter. It's just it's a human being, and what he's seeing is humanity. And I feel like that's, you know, he talks in the special about punching up versus punching down.
Mm-hmm.
And the line that I loved is, he's not punching up or punching down, he's just punching lines.
What do you mean? Oh,
Punch
punch
lines.
lines.
Punching
yeah.
lines.
Duh.
He's not punching up or punching down, he's just punching lines. And I was like, that I feel like that's fair. Like, he finds things that are funny in whatever it is. And he's kind of making the same point as you. You know, if you're gonna be offended, like, be offended. Like, it's not the end of the world, you know. But you know, the thing that I think he knows, and we all need to always be careful of, is when being it's hard to put into words, but like, when offensive becomes oppressive, right?
Yeah.
Like there's we all on, and Dad always talks about it this way. And this is one of the things that I love about what Dad always said is there's two parties for a reason, right? There's a push and there's a pull, right? There's progress and there's conservatism, and people are always going to lean kind of this one way or another. We talk about the binary, right? But there's always the push and the pull, and if we go too far to one side, then there's
It's not
chaos.
as good over there.
It's chaos on either end, right?
On the margins,
And so we live in the middle, and we just keep making progress, right? There's this audiobook that I've been listening to called Progress, and it talks about how over especially the last 100 years, just the progress that we've made as a people. We talk about, you and I, we talk about here in the business world, we talk about things like the labor shortage, right? Because the government is saying right now, we'll support you, we'll give you this basic income.
Yeah.
Right. Love this idea of the basic income, by the way. I know I'm a socialist, whatever. And so you're saying it takes away from the free market. And I'm like, yes, you're right. There's the push and the pull, because here's the thing is government has always been a part of the economy. Government has always done things to improve the base life, the foundational life of the people. Like, we are in America a privileged society because our government has done a good job of providing a bunch of different needs and a bunch of different things. And like, that's the government's job, I feel like, is to continue to improve.
Not in everything. And that's the issue that now you're going like sway back.
Right.
This is where the point where we need to sway back the other way. Right. This is the push and the pull.
And this is exactly why I'm going this way, and you're like, okay, yeah, but like pull back a little bit and like let's figure out how to make this better. So
then that's my issue with this whole Dave Chapelle thing, right? So we see that there are now Netflix employees who are protesting, wanting to take it down, right? And this is where, for me, it's like this is where you go too far.
This is freedom of speech is
right.
So we talk about freedom of speech, and like, to me, that's freaking important, dude. Like,
yeah,
like that's rule number one. That's like a Bill of Rights amendment number 1, whatever. Like that's the first one, right?
Freedom of speech.
First Amendment, freedom of speech. If you don't like what I have to say, cool. My bad, I had something.
But
weird.
I have the freedom to say it.
But I have the freedom to say it.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely. Now, then we get the argument of, oh, well, it's a private company, and a private company can, make its own decisions.
And it can.
And then private companies are held hostage by what? Shareholders.
Shareholders, yeah, for sure.
Shareholders.
Whoever's getting the profit, yes.
Shareholders.
And right now, government. And that was my point. That was what I was going to say.
My thing is that we're in a freaking oligarchy, like that. We're not a republic.
That's a whole other ballgame. I got to get Anthony on the show. We're going to talk about that stuff for hours. But here's the thing: when you're talking about shoot, I lost the train of thought. What were we talking about right now?
Derailed. We were talking about, I don't remember. I just say things and then it goes into my brain and out of my mouth, and then it's gone. And like, we'll listen to this later and be like, oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
But who's in control? You're talking about who's in control.
Who's in control?
Right. So
the Illuminati.
When you have this whole idea of take it down, huh?
I said the Illuminati. Oh shit, they're on us now. When you have this idea of take it down.
We have this idea of take it down. Like, you don't have to go that far. That First Amendment right is absolutely the key here. I like the whole idea of, if you don't like it, go off and build your own. Dude, so I saw this yesterday on a TikTok feed. Donald Trump launched his own social media. I was like, dude, look at that. But that's an example of, if you don't like it, go make your own. Right?
He's also like incredibly stupid rich, and not everybody can do that. But I
100% agree with that statement. Yes, you're absolutely right. But he did it, right? Like he's one of those big name. There's a lot of people who've been censored who have resources, but they're like, nah, not a fight I want to fight. I believe freedom of media going both ways. Again, a private company, Facebook has the ability to do what it wants, right? It can ban people, it can close people off. It's its own private company. Netflix can do it too. Doesn't make it right. Right? Not everybody has a resource to go make their own thing. You're right, but it doesn't make it right. You need to be able to give people, like, you can't close one side to the other. And I think this is where that Dave Chapelle story is why it's so trendy, because all of a sudden you're like, what does Netflix do as a company here?
So let's talk about this though. Like when it comes to the censorship of former President Trump, right? When it comes to that, why did it happen?
I don't even remember. I'm sure it was one of his stupid tweets that he always tweets.
It was because of the fucking January 6th insurrection, bro.
Oh,
yeah, that old chestnut.
I don't know. I never see it as insurrection. I don't get sold as that. I see it as a protest. Like they've been protesting pretty much anything else. And the people who are making those rules and those laws
at the Capitol, though.
The people who are making the rules and the laws, the people who are making the rules and the laws were the ones who needed to protest. Now, do I think it went too far? Yeah, I would have never crossed a line. I'm not that kind of person anyways. I don't really go to protests. I don't do that sort of thing, right? But that's my personality type, and people who protest do. I don't know. I don't see it. It could be sold on either side because you see it on both sides. You see negativity and destruction.
Here's yes.
At protests, sadly.
Yep. It's true.
Doesn't mean we don't talk to each other, right? But my point is, I mean, going back to the Netflix point, what should Netflix do? Like, what is it that they need to do here? Or what, you're backed into a corner. But for me, there are so many things on Netflix, so many different movies with so many different scenes that could be considered offensive. What makes this one so special? Right? Why is this such a big deal? Because
it's actually addressed in the thing. He's like, he talks about how like, what do you say? Somebody who killed someone, like actually murdered somebody, and like nothing happened to their career, but then they made fun of somebody who was gay, and like they were canceled and like their whole career tanked.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't make sense to do that sort of thing. Does it make sense for you to be offended? You know what? Like I was telling you before the show, there are songs that make you sad when you listen to them, that maybe they remind you of someone you lost, or they remind you of, a memory of a long lost aunt, uncle, family member, or a love, so whatever, you know what I mean? Like a dog, whatever it is, right? Like something that makes you cry. Or something that somebody says in a song that makes you mad. It doesn't mean you cancel that person's career or that livelihood or whatever. Like you don't do that, right?
To take away someone's livelihood is akin to killing him.
Dude, it is. That's wrong. You don't do that. You're offended. Maybe you talk about how you don't like that sort of music and you get with your group of people who don't like that sort of music and you kind of find something else and move on. That the reality, this is funny because the mindset conversation that we've had this week with a couple different guests, same type of thing. The reality that you make is 100% up to you.
Yep.
Change your reality. I mean, there are so many things that you can focus your attention on and all this effort. There are, like mom used to say when we were kids, there are starving kids in Africa that could use food, and your mind could probably be better used to solve that problem than to try to get Dave Chappelle's special off of Netflix. Like,
there are starving kids next door. Like,
right? It could be anything, right? I mean, we have huge
let's be honest.
Issue.
Literally, there are starving kids in the next neighborhood over in your neighborhood. Like
you can do with your time, that you're wasting away arguing meaningless points to me, right? It's humor. If you're that same person who is deeply offended 10 years from now is going to watch that same special and be like, oh, that was stupid. The feeling is different. You change as an individual. Right now, you're offended. Right now, you're struggling or depressed. Right now, you're going through stuff. But you could also work to change that, right? It's harder for some people. It's a different lifestyle for some people that they have to go through. But eventually, they can accept who they are and then go from there. What are the 10 words that are most detrimental? What do other people think? And what will other people say? That is a construct in our own mind that we put there, and we put up our own barriers. Dude, I've been thinking about a topic to talk about for like keynote speaking. And my thought was in nothing, right? I was like, maybe I should talk about nothing. Like, and so I was thinking,
All right,
I was thinking on my run this morning. I was like, Seinfeld made that whole show is about nothing, and it was extremely successful. Or, what else is nothing?
I don't think people will sign up and come breaking down the door to talk about nothing.
It depends on how you sell it, right? But it always depends on how you sell it. But hey,
Seinfeld did it.
What did Chief Danny teach us when we were learning about real estate investing? He's like, oh, you could buy this house over here for $100,000 and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, yeah, we live in California. He's like, well, those of you who live in California just add a zero. And what's zero anyways? Nothing. Like, we're literally chasing nothing. We're looking for zeros in our bank account. That was another situation I thought of, right? And then I was like, I thought, ooh, how can I work this into like a movement example? And I was like, oh, so I have everybody raise their hand, right? And then grip their hand. And as they're gripping their hand, I want you to grip it as hard as you possibly can. And then I'll start telling them about the Seinfeld, right? And that's nothing. I'll start telling them about their bank account. And you just keep holding that grip in your hand. Keep holding it. And I just keep telling different stories about nothing and how most people love those stories. Like The Rock, for example. Like the reason why his company is called $7 is because when he got hurt and he was playing Canadian football, trying to go to the NFL, got injured, got cut. When he got picked up from the airport, his dad was just like, hey, what are you going to do? And he kind of reached in his pocket. He had like $6 and something cents, and he didn't have a clue where to do. That's where it all started, from nothing. His career started from nothing. So that's why he calls it $7, right? That's his company. And so as you're holding your hand close, you have nothing in there, but you're gripping it so tight, you're probably starting to shake, right? You're probably starting to feel a little something. And all of a sudden, it's getting harder to hold nothing. And that's really what's standing in your way of success, is nothing. Like literally anything that you want to do in your life, you can go do. But the things that are stopping you are in your head. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. Those are really nothings. You're going to make the time. You're going to do the learning, or you're going to feel what it feels like to lock yourself into nothing. So anyways, that's what I was thinking about in my room.
That was pretty freaking cool.
Yeah,
that was really freaking cool. Hell yeah.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Punchlines.
Punchlines. We're just punching lines. We're not punching up. We're not punching down. We're just punching lines. This was awesome.
Yeah. A little bit different. So still a little businessy. We let you know a little bit. My bottom line opinion, Dave Chapelle. I love that guy. I think he was freaking hilarious.
You haven't even seen it yet, but I'm sure you're gonna love it. I haven't even
seen it. There's only one show that I watched of his, and it was during COVID, and he did this like special thing, and he was not funny that day. He was like being a little more serious and political, and I was like, it's not the Dave Chapelle I like the funny Chapelle. But I am gonna watch the special. I'm gonna check it out, and then maybe I'll report back. But yeah. Go talk to more people, ladies and gents. That's it. Have a conversation with people. James and I don't agree on anything, but we agree that you should talk to more people because at the end of the day,
I only put up the one score, so I'm gonna say I won.
I got nothing. That's the whole point. Right? That was the whole point right there. I got a goose egg, dude. Nothing.
Boom.
All right, ladies and
gents.
All
right, good luck on your fantasy this week.
I hope so. Got to remain 5-1. Hopefully I go to 6-1 in 3 leagues, baby, because that's where I'm at. Peace. We're out.
Thank you for listening to the Business Bros Podcast. Are you looking to get more clients or to increase your income? Hernan, the business bro, can help you generate referrals through the power of podcasting. And James, the insurance bro with Pipeline Insurance, can help you effectively add insurance to your existing business. If you are ready to create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow, email businessbros@csfirst.com to schedule a free consultation or join the Business Bros Network, www.businessbros.biz.